taken 5 or so years when most of it's hopefully headed away. Well, good morning. Here's the big day. Off to the big city, driving to Denver. See a doctor, see what's wrong with me, see what kind of news they can give me. Hope there's going to be an answer, but I'm sure it's just going to be a meet the doctor, here's your stuff, let's do some more testing. But it'd be nice to have some plan. Anyway, big day. Long drive. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've got an 8 o'clock appointment in downtown Denver, so I better get going. This is my 2016 Jetta. I had a 2012 TDI before this, when they went through the little EPA fiasco cheat code thing. Wasn't the first Volkswagen diesel I ever had, and I got so royally burned on the value of my first Volkswagen diesel, which was not a turbo. I mean, we're talking a 1981 diesel. I took the money and from the settlement and used it to purchase another car, and turns out this was the best vehicle of the vehicles I could find, new at the time, that had a 5-speed, got better than 40 miles a gallon, had the bigger gas tank, and I have been very, very happy with this vehicle for what I do with it. It has been a primary mode of transportation for me to drive the 100 miles a day that I drive back and forth to work, and it has been holding up very well, considering it doesn't always get the best treatment, and it gets driven a lot. Most of it on the interstate, cruise control punched in, but you know, such is life. It has 160,000 miles on it at this point. Still doesn't use any oil, doesn't have any issues, just keeps racking up the miles. So we'll see how well it lasts. But to date, it's been one of the least expensive vehicles I've had to operate. Surprisingly enough, the other least expensive vehicle I've had to operate is that Chrysler 300 up there. It's got almost 300,000 miles on it. Needless to say, it's not worth much anymore. 2005 Chrysler 300 with 270,000 miles on it. But it's still going strong. And price of vehicles these days, I can't replace it. I can't find anything that I can spend money on that is better than it, which is kind of sad, but vehicle market's way overpriced. Anyway, we'll see if I include this clip with the video I'm making. Yeah, the pieces of steel laying here in the driveway was starting that out to be a tree protection cage for Shrek over there, because we keep running into tree branches with the cab, and I'm gonna break that windshield if I'm not careful. So started building that, then other things came up for me, and I don't want to get started in on working on it again just yet, because I might have to have another MRI. And they get kind of quirky if you've been doing metal work, welding and grinding before an MRI, having had to be x-rayed from one end of the foot or one end to the other to make sure there didn't have any chunks of metal in me. Before the last MRI, I don't want to do that again anytime soon. It just makes it more expensive. Anyway, so today, 10,000 mile oil change interval, time to clean the air filter, trying to change cabin filter. Been a long time since I've changed spark plugs, so I'm going to do spark plugs on it. Typical cycle. Try to do it myself, kind of helps me have a little more money for things that I want to do other places. Serves me right, sitting here bragging about these NGK boots, and look at that stuff. Oh man, am I pissed off right now, because down inside of there is a piece of rubber boot, and I'm not going to get that spark plug out or get this thing back together again without new parts. Just what I needed. It is a good thing for me that I don't throw things away. This is the NGK boot that originally came in this box, as you can see, or coil, and there is the boot and its internal parts, and this is the Bosch that I took out a long time ago, the original one. So I'm going to see if I can get this boot off, because I kept the 3 good ones of this one, so if I can get this boot off and it fits onto the NGK one, I'll be back in business. Otherwise I'll be putting this one, or one of the other two, depending on how this goes, in its place and making do until I can order a new one. Yay! Well, moved on. I got number 3 out. I had to crack the top of this plug off in order to be able to get a socket onto the spark plug, but that's how much of the boot broke off. There is the inside of the boot conductor. There is the broken boot, and this is my Bosch igniter, ignition, whatever, coil. And so I topped that boot off of it, and then I've moved on to cylinder number 4, which is a lot of fun if you don't take this crossover tube off. And it came out just fine, so I will continue on the mission and get this last spark plug changed out and move on to the other parts. Just a little drama, hopefully. We'll see what happens when I fire it up. Well, a little short test drive right now. I'm just kind of sitting here enjoying the air conditioning, because it's hot out there. It got hot while I was working. I see a nice mark here where the spring clamp shot out of my pliers and bounced off the hood of the Volkswagen and smacked me in the face. That's pretty good, isn't it? I better get back. I know my kids are watching, my adult children are watching my wife, making sure she doesn't fall down or anything after the surgery, but yeah, it's pretty dang sunny out, so if it looks like I'm squinting, I probably am. Anyway, I better get back, but I'm going to continue recording some videos like this for the next 3 or 4 days, because I went to a doctor, and the doctor took some x-rays for the pains in my hands. They found something has replaced part of the bone in one of my fingers. Sent me for an MRI, which was a big stink, because I was been working on metal projects like that in the last couple of weeks, and finally got through the MRI. MRI came back saying, well, it's a tumor, but we can't tell if it's cancer. We feel pretty good about it, but and the doctor got the report from the MRI and didn't even want to continue our appointments or anything like that. He just referred me to Denver to a specialist whose practice includes or doctor's office is attached to a cancer treatment facility. So that's kind of scary when you're 50 some years old, and they find a lump in your finger and they can't rule out that it's cancer right away, and rather than doing a biopsy, they send you to a specialist. I mean, not a lot of stories for 50-somes that start with, oh, we found a tumor, oh, it could be cancerous, that end with, it wasn't nothing, or, you know, it was easily treated, or that doesn't happen as much as 6 months later you're dead. And I'm not ready for that. I had plans for the next 10 years. It's going to take me 10 years to get all my debts paid off. That's another story. So, at any rate, I better get going. We'll talk again. The visit in Denver went well. The doctor knew what he was doing. He scheduled me for surgery with no more testing. But another problem arose. Lynn's recovery from her hip surgery was going too slowly. And there was going to be no way she was going to be able to drive me home from the surgery, since it was going to be a in and out kind of day surgery thing. And that's a huge problem when you're in Denver and you can't drive home, and your wife can't move her foot because she had a hip surgery done on her right leg, and makes it kind of hard to go gas pedal brake quick when you're trying to recover from that. At any rate, got lucky. We found that there was a surgeon right here in our town that could do the surgery. It was affiliate with the surgeon in Denver, and I got scheduled for a week later than the previous surgery to have the surgery done here in Douglas, and it went well. The surgery basically, well, you know, I've been telling people, apparently I've been told by God that I don't use my middle finger enough, so now it has to stick up. Both before the surgery and after the surgery, I was having to wrap my middle finger on my right hand to protect it from getting broken, since it appeared in x-rays to not have any bone in there. And then after the surgery, of course, it was cut open and everything inside of it was removed. So the good news was the tumor was benign, and the bad news is it's still taking a long time to get full motion back in my hand. And it's amazing the things you use your middle finger for, not including waving it at people. Later this summer, you can see where I blew an air conditioner part. Of all things, a switch, a brand new switch, blew its little O-ring out and took out my air conditioner. And then I added a couple more vents and fixed the air conditioner. And then I turned around and bought something while I was recovering, and here it is, a little diesel generator for jump starting the trucks.
Starting.
Put it on first.
I would hope.